Hi, today I'd like to talk a little bit about education, because I think a lot of people put me on a pedestal and they give me a little too much credit in terms of what my education was, what my background was, what my intelligence level is, and what I am capable of. A lot of people think that because I can explain advanced electronics concepts simply and then practically apply them to laptop motherboard repair, that I must just be intelligent and a genius and well educated, and I'd like to take that myth and just toss it out, because I'm sick and tired of hearing people give me excuses as to why they cannot do something that I can. So let's start going through this folder. So a few years ago, when my mother had killed herself, I had to clean out her home, and I took a lot of cabinets from there just in case I'd like to go through this stuff at a later date. And some of the things that I found were actually my old school folders that I had kept with my old tests and homework. So let's start out and just go through some of this folder, shall we? So this here is a math test. Yes, that is a 50 out of 100. This here is my English quiz. Let's see, this is my period 3 English class. That's set on facial focus, so I probably won't see this right. That is a 60 out of 100. That is a 20 out of 100. That's a 0 out of 100. Let's see. As junk. Yeah, I'm not sure if I already showed that one. Or maybe that's a different 0. That is that. This was my permanent record. So the best average that I ever got out of 4 years in high school was a 76.37. That is my permanent record. Moving on, let's see how I did in other subjects. Let's say second language, like Spanish. That is a 57 out of 100. How did I do in history? That is a 47 out of 100. Come on, focus. Yep. Gift of the Magi quiz. That is a 60 out of 100. The Scarlet Iris. That is a 40 out of 100. Homework. Let's see. Math Final. 2003. I was still a freshman in high school. That is a 27 out of 50, which comes out to, I would believe, that's a 29 out of 50, which comes out to a 58 out of 100. Needless to say, that is not passing. Passing in New York City is 65, 75 if you're in an honors class, which let's say I didn't get into a lot of those. The necklace, that's a quiz on the necklace. That is a 60 out of 100. Let's see, what else do we have here? Whoa, a passing grade on a math test. Wow, that's a 68 out of 100. Keep in mind that basic mathematics is something that you need if you want to go into any types of engineering, whether it's electronic or otherwise. Oh, look, we're getting better. Look, 65 out of 100. Wonder who I cheated off of to pass that test. Let's see. It's homework. Oh, look at this, a Spanish test that I actually passed. Imagine that. Now, if I were to keep going through all these folders, I assure you that the results would not change, that it would be that for everything. So one of the things that I'm trying to get across here is, again, I had teachers tell me that if I continued down this path, if I didn't, buckle down and figure out how to do better on these tests, that I would never be able to be, pretty much successful in the real world. And one of the things that I'd like to say, if you were any one of those teachers who said that and you're watching, is, how does it feel to be making in a month what I make in a week? Like, really? I mean, all this crap was just a bunch of bullshit. I mean, I come to work when I please. I go home to my palatial apartment when I please, after buying my cat wellness core, after going to a nice restaurant to buy food because I can afford it, because I make good money being good at my job, which a lot of the time actually requires the disciplines that I were failing in school. And, the problem with academia, the general problem with academia, is that the people who are doing the teaching, they live inside of this little bubble. They live inside of this world where the only thing that matters is academia. They don't have a real-world reference anymore. It has been a long time since they actually had to go out into the real world and learn a skill. So you have all these people that don't have any real benchmarks for success, that don't have any real other challenges other than teaching, 10 and 15-year-old children this information that they don't want to learn. That's their experience, and they're telling you what you need to do to be successful, what you need to learn in life. And what I'm saying is that stuff is really not it. The reason that I failed these tests has nothing to do with the fact that I have poor self-control, that I have poor discipline, that I am not capable of learning, like a lot of my teachers had implied. It's because that stuff is fucking boring. In Robe of the Magi and Scarlet Iris and any of these books where the quiz is saying, in chapter 4 or 5, in the forest, what is the imagery that Renee was discussing when they were looking at the tree? Like, I don't care about the imagery about the fucking tree. Even if I were reading that book for enjoyment, and I assure you, just on principle alone, if it's a book that we had to read in school and it has been ruined and tarnished and destroyed by these stupid fucking quizzes and teachers that just rip apart all the good and the interest out of it to get to the bullshit. I don't care about any of that. I really don't. I don't care. Since I don't care, since it does not interest me, I will not want to learn it. I will not want to put effort into it. I want to put effort into the things that I'm interested in. I want to know why a phase-coherent loudspeaker with poor frequency response sounds closer to real than a loudspeaker with perfect frequency response but slightly off phase response. I want to know why I want to understand how electronics work. I want to understand how coding works. I want to understand how different encoding methods for audio and video work. I like learning about people and how they act and how they interact when they're put into different stressful situations. I like learning about sales. I like learning about the things that I myself am interested in. When you put the things in front of me that I am interested in, I will learn them. When you put in front of me a war from 4,000 years ago between X country that doesn't exist anymore and Y country that doesn't exist anymore, don't be surprised if I get a 20 on the test, because there's nothing that you can do to make me want to learn that. It's boring, it's not interesting, and if you present it to me in a bland and irritating fashion that is solely going to test my memorization of facts that I am not interested in, I'll fail. You're right, I'll fail. But you're wrong if you think that means that I'm going to fail in life. You're very wrong if you think that means I'm going to fail in life. So what I want to get across with this video is that you don't have to be very good at school to learn and be successful at life. And I don't mean that in the terms of, if you get lucky and you win lotto and you get a perfect job, then you'll be successful, as long as you're not in a field where you have to be intelligent or use your brain. No, I mean, you can enter a field where you have to be really good at sales. You can enter a field where you have to be really good at engineering. You can enter a field where you have to be good at all these different disciplines and be damn intelligent and still do very well at it, even if your highest average throughout high school was a 70-something, 75 or 76. And it's because all of this stuff has no bearing on the real world. It has no bearing on the actual learning of things that you are interested in. You could be very, very good at learning all this nonsense and crap that is a complete and utter waste of brain space, but you could be very, very bad at learning the things you're actually interested in, and vice versa. And, the really tragic thing about school, the really tragic thing about the 12 or 13 years that all of us in the United States are required to spend in this prison, is that it kind of puts people off to learning. It really does as they get older. I still remember one of my better teachers. He's a good teacher. He's not like one of those teachers that's just in it to get their $35,000 a year and retire when they're 55. He was a very, very good psychology and sociology teacher at Wagner High School. He was talking about this one kid that he had, and the kid said, I can't wait to be done with high school and be done with learning. And he sits the kid down and he goes, no, you can't wait to be done with high school, but you're never going to be done or tired of learning. And he went on to explain why. The whole idea is you can be tired of learning the same monotonous nonsense you're not interested in, and you can be tired of being judged as to whether or not you know that based on tests that require memorization of mundane details. But you're never going to be tired of learning. You still find learning fun. You learn every time you talk to somebody. You learn every time you try something new. And I see you trying new things every day. I see you talking to new people every day. You're constantly learning. So why are you saying you're tired of learning? You're not tired of learning. And the thing is, as an adult, the thing with school is they have this structured environment because a lot of people don't know how to learn. They cannot actually learn something that is new to them because they don't understand the basics of how they're actually supposed to learn. And this is something I talked about in the Making Excuses for Yourself video. I'm not saying that you should stop being interested in school and just go out there and have unprotected sex and listen to loud music and do drugs and all that, and just be a bum for the rest of your life. What I'm saying is that you should spend that time learning in a productive fashion based on a curriculum that you come up with for yourself. I like to come up with my curriculums through excuses, meaning that I will figure out that I'll ask myself, why is it that I can't do this? And I'll use the excuses, the things that come naturally to me, to actually help create a path to what I want to learn. And this is very, very useful for United States-born Americans, because if there's anything that I've realized after hiring a lot of people who are foreign and born in other countries, is that people who are born in America love to come up with excuses for why they cannot accomplish something. There is nothing, I cannot go a day without hearing somebody born in America talk about why they can't accomplish something because of some mundane excuse that makes them feel better. So what I suggest people do is take these excuses, take this crap that's already coming out of their mouth every day, this junk that does not produce anything of note or quality, and use that to come up with a curriculum that you're going to use to educate yourself and to create a structure for yourself so that you know what it is you have to learn. In school, you read a book. At the end of the chapter, there are questions. At the end of 3 chapters, there's a test. At the end of the book, there's a final. Every step of the way, there are steps. There's a curriculum. There's structure. Because most people in this country do not create the structure for themselves. The structure is created for them. That's why they need school. The problem is that our current public school system is fundamentally flawed and silly and asinine and does not work. It does not produce results. It does not in any way a good judge of whether or not somebody is good at learning, intelligent, or even really that ready or prepared to enter the real world. What I'm suggesting you do is that you use your excuses to come up with a curriculum for the learning. So, for example, somebody just messaged me the other day saying, I want to learn how to do what you do. Where do I start? I replied to his email. This is not a wise-ass reply. This is the God's honest truth. I said, you start. And he goes, okay, well, what do you mean? I want to learn how to repair a dead motherboard. So how do I start? And I go, well, why haven't you trying already? He goes, I don't have a dead board. See, that's an excuse. So I said, okay, your first assignment, your excuse is I don't have a dead board. So your assignment is now to find a board from a source where it has not been fucked with already at a price that gives you some resale value so you can at the very least break even if you manage to fix it and sell it. Now he says, okay, I have it, but I don't know where anything is on the board. Okay, you can't start troubleshooting it. How do you think other people do it? I don't know how to troubleshoot a board. So now that's your excuse. I don't know how to troubleshoot a dead board. Now you have a question that you can ask somebody else. So you have this question, right? Now you ask other engineers, how would you troubleshoot problems on a board? Another engineer is probably going to tell you, well, you need a schematic. You need to know where things are on it. Well, I don't have a schematic. I guess I can't do anything. Now you have your next assignment. You have your next homework assignment. Every single day you come up with an excuse. And then now you have to shift. You have to shift from being the student. Now you have to be the teacher. And now as the teacher, you're going to take that excuse and use that excuse to create a homework assignment for yourself that you will fulfill. The goal is not going to be to learn tomorrow I'm going to fix a dead board. The goal is going to be one step at a time to eliminate each and every excuse. So you find the excuse as to why you can't do it. Then you eliminate the excuse. You find the excuse, you come up with an assignment to eliminate the excuse, then you eliminate the excuse. That's what I focused on doing. I bought my Hacko FR801 rework station for $650 plus tips before I even knew how to remove a resistor from a board, before I knew how to do anything with surface mount components. Before I bought that, I was cutting the legs off of ICs that were on the board, then removing them with a soldering iron, and then putting them on like one leg at a time. It was sad. I bought that Zalmo ZMR 6200C rework station before I had a clue how to do anything good with BGA rework. But it was to eliminate an excuse. I can't put these packages on reliably and properly. Well, that's an excuse eliminated right there. In the corner of the room, you're going to see a $7,000 excuse eliminator. And that's what that did for me. I wanted to eliminate every excuse every step of the way. And through doing this, I created a curriculum where I allowed myself to learn and move on every step of the way. It's not because I had a 100 average in high school. It's not because I went on to some amazing engineering college, nor is it because I'm very, very intelligent. All I do, and again, this is a secret that a lot of successful people have that they don't give away, is they simply come up with a curriculum for themselves to allow themselves to learn these things. Most people don't know where to start. They have no idea where to start, but they don't look at what's right in front of them. Your excuses are right in front of you, and your excuses are the best thing that you can use to learn, not school. School is a complete and utter waste of time if you actually want to learn a lot of things. If you actually want to get a job in a certain field, that's not the way to do it. Let me tell you something. There are a lot of electrical engineers out there that are a lot worse than me at this stuff, and And it's sad. It really is. Like when I get messages saying, I went to school for this, that, and the other, and I just have this one simple question, how does this work in this video? And I'm like, that's a DC boost circuit. I mean, you should have learned that as a freshman. And I don't mean it in an insulting way. I don't mean it as an insulting way to them. I mean it in an insulting way to our school system. Just the fact that they don't tell you until 8 months into electronics that in college that a transistor actually functions very much like a resistor that you can just vary based on an input signal. Like, they don't tell you that. They don't until 8 months in. I can tell you that within the first minute of explaining to you how a transistor works. Our entire education system in our country is just ridiculous. It is a hostage situation at best. I mean, again, when people say that being 16 are the best years of your life, do you really want to deal with a place where they tell you when you're allowed to eat, when you're allowed to go to the bathroom? No. This is a silly place where you are forced to memorize data that is of no interest to you, that you are never going to use in the real world, that you are never going to bring up again, that you have no interest in, and you're just forced to do it for 6 or 7 or 8 hours a day. So if you're wondering whether this information is actually useful, if you're wondering whether you should be putting time or effort into your public schoolwork, no. Put in the minimum effort that you need to pass. Put in the minimum effort that you need to get out of there and do what is required by law, and spend all of that other time learning the subjects and topics that are actually of interest to you. Even if you don't know what you're going to do with those topics, even if you don't know what you're going to do with that subject matter, I assure you, once you become an adult, the opportunities are going to present themselves where your talents will allow you to shine, where you'll be able to do well at a job because you know something that somebody else doesn't, because you took the time to learn something. If you're interested in learning how phase coherent speakers work, learn how phase coherent speakers work. If you're interested in learning about coding, pick up a book on PHP or Ruby or whatever it is that you're Python or whatever it is you're interested in. Come up with all the excuses as to why you can't code a program. I want you to start coming up with excuses as to why you are unable to code a program, and then just start beating them one by one, as ridiculous as it may seem. Well, I don't know how to do this. Learn how to do this. Well, I don't know where to get the information on that. Ask everybody you know. Ask every single person, as humiliating as it may be to you, this stupid little question. Do whatever it is that you need to do to get rid of the excuses sitting between you and the goal, and you will learn what you need to learn far quicker than you will from any silly school. Spend the time that you would have wasted trying to get a 100 on that test instead of a 65, learning something that is actually of interest to you. Academia is a complete and utter waste of time for so many people, but the only reason that we have it is because people don't understand how to create a curriculum to learn for themselves. If you have teachers that are telling you that you are going to fail in life, that you're not going to do well in life, that you're never going to be able to get a job, that you're never going to be able to learn on a higher level because you failed the test on Robe of the Magi with a 0 out of 100 because you were not interested in what was going on in the forest or any of that other bullshit, let me tell you something. They're all wrong. They're all really, really wrong. And they're telling you whatever it is they need to tell you so that you will put the effort in to their bullshit class and take it seriously so you get good grades, so that you pass your regions, so that they can keep their job and keep their job on to the next year. But this has nothing to do with you. It really doesn't. It's not going to help you go forward in life. It's not going to help you learn anything. I want you people to stop putting me on a pedestal and stop assuming that I have this great education, and stop assuming that I'm a genius because I can figure out some of these advanced concepts and then explain it to you in a simple and practical manner that allows you to learn and then allows you to profit from it. It's not because I'm a genius. It's not because of my education. It's because I came up with a curriculum for myself where I am learning through eliminating excuses. It is not because of my permanent record. It's not because of anything in this folder. That's about it for today. Put time into yourself, not in the school.